Duane hosts the Everett Poetry Night down there. No affiliation with us. And if you ever get a chance to get down there, it's a great reading. Cafe Zippy, where it's held, is a wonderful cafe, great vibe down there. A lot of colorful art always on the walls. So make it down there if you get a chance. But more about Duane. Duane's an amazing artist and also, a poet. Yeah, so anecdotal story here about Duane. He got a show here in Bellingham at a local dance studio. I had shown there. They had my stuff hanging on the wall for like 3 months, and Duane came in, and my stuff's kind of creepy too. But I mean, geez, people freaked out when they saw yours. So you'll see the shirt that he's got. He paints with a lot of vibrant colors, lots of yellows and kind of greens and reds on dark backgrounds. It really pops. I like it. But his eyes are a little bit disturbing to people, I think. At least those people there. So Duane, yeah. If you ever get a chance to buy some of Duane's art, you should. So to find out a little bit more about Duane, we're going to ask you 3 questions. What is your quest, Duane?
Never be satisfied.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Have you ever had any nicknames that stuck?
None that stuck more than a season or 2.
What were they?
As a kid, Gray Pig.
Great
Playing
pig.
basketball, I had this big purple t-shirt.
Right on.
That was one that lasted the length of the basketball season.
Right on. And number 3, this is kind of a little more in depth. Which do you think has more influence in your work on the other, your painting or your poetry, and how they overlap?
Film.
Film?
Noir. Yeah. We mix film noir into anything one part. Because we did Chunky Express and all that. One part wide. You mix those 2 together, and that can happen. And also, I guess the work of Edward Hopper. Edward Hopper influenced film noir influenced Edward Hopper back and forth.
Well, get ready for some influence by film noir with Duane Kirby Jensen. Let's give him a hand.
Let's get this where I can actually use it. Squeeze right there. I know you like to be squeezed, don't you, Tiffany? Right off the freaking. Hey, if you're heckling, I'm playing. I know you did. So when I was asked, I was thrilled to be coming up here, and I was thinking, well, do I kind of do like a best of? Do I do just stuff that's been published? And then I decided, I'm going to write all new poems.
Dude.
So everything in this book has never been seen. This book is completely debut. Every poem in here is debut. The only people who've seen a couple of them are some proofreaders, Emma and Raj, and David if he wasn't in New York. So
this one.
This one right here. No one has heard these. And even the people who proofread this, yes, have not heard the final versions. Cover art is, of course, my own. Inside, you have a piece, and that's kind of some of what freaked people out. That was part of the series that blew people away because they had all these eyes just staring confrontationally at people, and people had to make a decision if they wanted to engage in my artwork. They chose not to. What Tom left out of that little anecdote is I was supposed to be here for 2 months. The night of the opening, they asked me to pull down 8 pieces, and 3 weeks later, they asked me to pull down the other half of the show, but leave these 8 serene pieces. No. If I'm coming up, it's all going down.
Yeah.
And they kept saying, it's too edgy. We need to transition some of your work off the wall. Transition is now my least favorite word. It's like, Hitler, we're transitioning the Jews to a safer place. during World War II, we transitioned the Japanese to a safer place. I mean, those are the type of words, you know, they think they're saying nice about you. It's an evil word. So enough about that whole anecdote. This is called Watch Me. And if you flip over to the table of contents, it is the story of him and her in 17 poems. So this is actually a concept book. Everything, if you pick up this book, you need to read it from beginning to end because they build. But there's more than 17 poems in here. I've been writing haikus. So there are haikus inserted throughout the book as well. And if people know Chris Jarnick, how he has his poem starters, well, I saved lines that didn't make it into the poems, and they are on different pages throughout the book as well. And they all create the story of him and her. So you're going to get about, I think, 11 poems out of here. We're going to start with a quick haiku. She found ways to shine, her deep brown eyes lingering, quickening his heart. I don't know if haikus really warrant a clap. I mean, they didn't even warrant being in the table of contents.
You pause.
I mean, they're...
They weren't.
Well, because you don't really title haikus. And, you know, so... Yeah. Okay, this is called Eastbound Train.
That was the first one I was like,
He mentally counted cars by the sound of their jostling couplings as the eastbound train eased past his window. Sea lions agitated from their slumber barked toward their 2:41 a.m. intruder. He projected his spirit self into the number 9 boxcar covered in beautiful graffiti. A boxcar transporting his thoughts of guarded love to her doorstep. A boxcar she will hear during the night, near her own cold water bay, filled with its own wild creatures. Will she think of him when she hears the grinding of wheels on rusted tracks? Will she wonder if this car has traveled from his coast to hers? Will she close her eyes and listen for the rattling of couplings, holding, contracting, releasing, and recoupling? Will she turn her face towards the sound of metal upon metal? Will she sense that his spirit rides the rails, that has been instructed to pass through her, whispering into her right ear, "You fill me with desire"? Will she remember their conversation about astral projection? Will she have a warm cup of green tea waiting on her porch? Will the door to her heart be ajar? This is called The Littlest Cloud. It's a bedtime story. And it began when I'm chatting with my friend on the East Coast, and we're usually chatting like at 1 a.m. And so she goes, "I'm getting tired, make me up a bedtime story." So what you get here is probably about 85% of what I wrote that night. Since then I just kind of tweaked tenses and added a little bit. But this just grew organically through telling her a bedtime story. The Littlest Cloud, a bedtime story. There once was a cloud, a small, insignificant cloud as clouds go, a cloud that loved watching the humans far, far below. Some days the cloud would become jealous of fog that interacted with the humans, especially the light fog full of big imaginations. This little cloud began to dream. With its dream, it began to grow and grow and grow. When other clouds became rain, she became the cloud which dreamed, refusing to shed water. She, yes, this cloud was a she, and she had bigger ideas than becoming a series of small puddles that little boys and girls could splash in. She dreamed and planned and planned and dreamed. Somewhere along the way, she ceased being simply a cloud. She became a she cloud, a cloud with a gender identity, which no other cloud had ever possessed. She wanted to become human. She wanted to become a full-grown woman. She detested childhood, having witnessed too much pain, too much lost dreams, as the young transform into adult-type people. Finally, after tens and tens and tens of years, she found a way to give birth to herself. She would become a snow cloud, a very special snow cloud. A cloud capable of producing 100 million perfect snowflakes. Snowflakes that would gravitate together in a series of intertwining strings called DNA. These DNA snowflakes would instruct other snowflakes how to become bone, heart, liver, brain, eyes, nose, and soul. Others would become lung, larynx, vocal cords, mouth, and tongue to allow her to talk and sing. Oh, she wanted to sing. More snowflakes would wrap around her core, forming skin, legs, breast, phalanges, and flowing dark hair that draped to her knees. The last of the snow would encircle her, becoming threads, weaving themselves into a long green dress, embroidered with sunflowers in full bloom. Sunflowers so bright and beautiful, no one could ever have reason to feel sad. Except maybe that little red-headed girl who learned to walk through walls while carrying a rusted machete. This was a path traveled by the littlest cloud, a cloud who learned to dream, a cloud who transformed her dreams into reality, becoming a human woman with a voice that could sing. A woman who found her way into his life, into his kitchen, into his bed. But that is another story for a snowy day.
Whoa.
Now, the story about the redheaded girl with the machete was a poem that I started out with a poetry night about 2 years ago when Erica had a poem around thing. And it became approximately an 8-minute poem that is published in that magazine back there, and it has like 3 of the paintings that go with it. So if you're interested in the machete girl, you'll have to buy the story. My love letter to you, which I found in a crumpled ball under your bed, stained with tears, as read in the voice of him. I would love to watch you sleep. I would love to sit and watch you read. I would love to watch you eat. But I am unsure if I could restrain myself for more than a few days from the need, from the urge to touch you, to read to you, to feast with you. I will admit, looking at you is an act of feeding, but somewhere the act of watching only must end. I know. You enjoy my eyes upon you. You warm yourself within the heat of my attention, the way a cat stretches upon a window ledge, capturing the noonday sun. I see in your brown eyes that you have tribulations, that if we touch, the world you have crafted will burst into flame, coating you in ash. I repeat, the act of watching you, of only watching, must end. Watching without touching is an act of worship, and baby, this atheist does not worship at anyone's feet. True love is an act of participation. The sharing of breath and sweat as we scramble up mountains. Me cubing cantaloupe and pineapple for breakfast as you watch. You going out of your way to find me black licorice ice cream. Me making up silly little love songs to amuse you, sung in my off-key voice. Being amazed when two heartbeats into sync, creating a melody that compels a union of two to dance the dance of primeval. In the morning, if you desire, I will sit across from you at our kitchen table, fasting, while I watch you enjoy your pancakes. I will watch you cut, fork, chew, and swallow. But hopefully, when you swallow that last buttery piece, I will get to taste that final drop of syrup that lingers upon your lips. Okay, now we get back-to-back fantasies. This is called Poison, his fantasy. I walked up to the bar, ordered my second whiskey, noticed she was drinking rum. She was temptation embodied within a cinnamon scent, beautiful white teeth and huntress hips that transformed men into moths. I sipped my honey-colored liquor, glancing into her brown eyes. My blues lingered with the gentleness of a hummingbird seeking forbidden nectar. I'm poison to men, she volunteered, with the confidence of a seasoned predator. I'm immune to poison, I smiled. Let me taste your tears. What tears? She responded through puzzled lips. The tears you will shed if you don't wake up with me at sunrise. The tears you will shed if you don't taste my buttermilk biscuit, which I will bake for you from scratch. The tears you will shed when you realize your abandonment issues are self-inflicted. Intrigue enlarged her enormous brown eyes that were suddenly sparkling as if filled with a burst of carbonation. She said in a hushed breath, "You're a very dangerous man." My hand reached around the back of her head, dissolving into her long black hair, which compelled me to think of Rapunzel. Her hair was thicker and darker than an old-growth forest on a moonless night. I pulled her close for a long kiss, saying, "You have no idea how right you are." The bar felt silent. Our lips parted without retreat. "Do you want honey with your biscuits?" I asked. Yes.
I think it just got 20 degrees warmer in here.
We aren't even to the real erotic stuff yet.
Oh, really?
Edgy, I told you, people.
I like it.
We could do that chart. This is a
Cinnamon, her fantasy. She lay nude upon blood-red sheets. She missed the falling weight of cinnamon, the weight of union and motion and gravity, the weight of words spoken and unspoken, the weight of two sets of gazing eyes, seeing a singular future. Cinnamon haze fills the space around her, drifting, swirling, undulating, morphing into shapes only visible during dreams. Cinnamon engulfed her until haze and female form became indecipherable, each inhabiting the other's motion. A zillion particles separate, yet bonded, sharing weight and friction, sharing speed and slowness. A slowness slower than the naked eye can recognize, until the haze and female form combine in the beauty of scented weight, holding each other in a passionate embrace. Their first encounter. He knew he was intruding into her moment. That first day he stood watching her. Enraptured, he mirrored her stillness. At dusk, a crow settled upon his shoulder, uttering a series of warnings he failed to comprehend. Within a blink, she slipped through the earth, or did she simply walk away? Another haiku. Eyes redirected, catch curve of her swaying hair. Lips curl, reveal smile. The truth of their first encounter. Later, he discerned her truth. She had no faith in Descartes' theorem of identity. Her existence was reliant upon being the object of hungry eyes, eager to consume and document her existence. Without watchers who coveted her, she felt isolated from the world, disenfranchised from life, adrift, fearing the earth beneath her feet would swallow her shadow